So today I'm going to talk about the shadow of the empath, which I've talked about in other videos, but I felt called to talk about it again in maybe a slightly different way. And something I see in the world is that people harp on, you know, talking about narcissism, talking about toxic stuff, toxic relationships, toxic people. Um, when I don't think, that language and that those words are useful up to a certain point. But if we're still blaming in any way a person, or if we still feel like a victim, then we are going to repeat a situation that we might not want to repeat. And your intuition even might lead you, might make you fall in love with, might attract you to a person that's just like the person you're trying to heal from, another narcissist, to give you an opportunity to learn the lesson, to make the correction. And what I see is that a lot of people that harp and harp and harp about toxic relationships and narcissism, people that are obsessed with it, of course they repeat the next person they attract is the same thing. Because as long as you're believing that you're a victim of life, life is going to have to teach you that you're not. And you're going to have to understand what's actually going on so that you can consciously, so that you have access to free will, so that you can actually choose differently. So the shadow of the empath, like a lot of people talk about how narcissists have a supply. um, they're often looking for mothers. They're attracted to empathic people because oftentimes they had cruel mothers that, they never felt that nourishing energy from. So they look for it in the outside world, but then they're also psychologically merged with the cruel mother. So the cruelty is actually also projected onto you. So they're trying to work out their mother issues on you. They want your nurturing qualities that they never got, but they are so resentful of the what they got from their mother that they're going to work it out on the screen of you, right? That's what happens a lot. And so the supply they're looking for is care, nourishment. And I saw something on Instagram the other day where this woman who proclaims to be a psychic, who sees energy, tried to explain what it looks like when a narcissist feeds on an empath. And basically, it was a representation of the narcissist has no access to source, so it only feeds on the empath. Whereas the empath is like this light being that's always receiving energy from source. But I'm just going to call major ass bullshit on that. Okay, let's get real. Let's grow up. Let's own our shit. Okay, because otherwise we're not free. Otherwise we're not sovereign. Otherwise we're basically fucked, and we're wasting our time, our precious time, being here on this earth, which is to grow up spiritually. So I hate to break it to you, but the empath also feeds on the narcissist, also gets a supply from the narcissist. Except what the empath gets, it's more like it's outsourcing its self-esteem. Why are we attracted to charismatic, talented people that are liked, right? What is that about? Well, obviously, we want that in our lives. Oftentimes, highly empathic people don't believe they can make it in the world being as sensitive as they are. So they are attracted to people who seem resilient and strong because they're not able to own that quality, to integrate that quality about themselves. So the lesson is, look, anything you're looking for, any quality you're looking for in the world is something you have to own about yourself. If you pedestalize talented people, right? Something that I've done, I have to realize I'm talented. I'm talented. I have gifts and abilities. If I admire people that are able to share their gifts with the world, like I want to share my gifts with the world. I want to share. And often, empaths don't feel confident to share as confidently as a narcissist might, because at least on a superficial level, they appear to have a higher self-esteem that actually does work for them in some ways, because they do tend to, that's not going to be the case so much anymore, but they tend to do better in the physical world because they don't have this perforated aura where they're always like caring too much what people think, what. And of course, the dark side of that is that they're disconnected from their environment and they have tunnel vision and they are unable to empathize with people and they're unable to see things outside of their own perspectives, of course. But the point here is, let's be real and say, if you attract narcissists, it's because you're outsourcing something. You're outsourcing strength, you're outsourcing self-love, right? Instead of owning your own good qualities, you are looking to connect with somebody else that has them so that that energy can be part of your life. But guess what? People come and go. If you don't recognize your value, if you don't have self-worth, you have a very temporary sense of stability. That's another thing that empaths outsource in a narcissist is stability, right? If you are an unconscious feminine energy and you feel battered by your environment and that you're too sensitive and that you can't cope with things, let me tell you something. It's not that you have a fucked up nervous system, or it's not even about your trauma. I know that's might be triggering to some people. What it's really about is that you believe that you can't handle life. And that's one of the beliefs that causes so much anxiety, that prevents you from living. You believe you can't handle something. I can't handle my environment. I can't handle this world. I can't handle my emotions. I can't handle my family. I can't handle it. So, therefore, my nervous system is going to believe that I can't handle it. And therefore, I'm programming my body to have reactions to things that I don't need to have reactions to. Time to own that. It's time to own that. So, the bottom line is, as long as you are in an unhealthy dynamic, whether you're the narcissist or the empath, you are feeding off of the world where you should be turning inward and integrating the qualities that you wish to embody. And until you do that, you're not whole. And until you do that, no matter how much you talk shit about a narcissist or anybody else, like, you're not healed. You're wasting time blaming when you should spend your time becoming who you want to be. Make a list of all the things that you've admired in other people and say, like, how am I not admitting that I am already that? Do you believe that because of your sensitive nature that you can't be successful? Is that why you think you need like a sugar daddy, or whatever the case may be, somebody who appears to have their business shit together? If that's something that really matters to you, it's probably something that you're more than capable of. Anything that you think you're desiring in the outer world, you have within you. So at the end of the day, when you feel whole and complete, you make choices about who you want in your life based on one thing. I just love you. I just like you. I just want to see your face. I just want to talk to you every day. I enjoy your energy. There's nothing more than that I would want than just to spend my time with you. Not because I need something from you, not because you're a safety crutch for me, not because you give me a temporary sense of well-being that I haven't figured out how to generate within myself, just because I want to be with you, period. So I just wanted to say this because I hate to see people who have suffered a lot be doomed to repeat the same thing when we have a greater opportunity to be like, how am I being a vampire? Me, the empath, how am I being the freaking vampire? How am I taking? How am I being the taker in my life? And just, if you attract narcissists in your life, as I said in other videos, you have an internalized narcissist. There is no inner and outer. If you have people in your life that put you down, you do it to yourself. So even if you don't hear the voice, even if you don't have an audible inner critic, if you have people that blame you for everything, you blame yourself. You have chronic guilt. A lot of people can't feel guilt, but it feels like a sticky like ball in your lower belly. And I'll just give you a clue. If you can't feel it, but if you are constantly being given feedback that you're guilty, it's already in you. Guilt attracts blame. if you have a pattern where you feel like you're left with nothing, after a relationship that you felt you gave everything and then you're left with nothing, maybe even a debt, maybe even an injury, maybe just you lose your kids, like, well, what are you feeling? How does that feel? You feel what? That you're complete, that God doesn't love you, that you don't deserve anything. Like, guess what? That perception was within you before you were born. Before you were born. It's not about your childhood. It's not about your trauma. And I don't want to trigger anyone, but our intuition, we are given the assignment to correct these things in our soul, these dark spots, right? Whether it's low self-worth, whether it's chronic guilt, whether it's depression, anxiety, rage, blame. This is our job. It's the great work for us to correct it. So as long as we are blaming, as long as we're saying that person is toxic and that person is toxic and that was a toxic relationship. No, they were who they were, and I hope you got the message of why they came into your life, because if you didn't, you're going to meet them again with a new face. So something to consider, something to think about. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a beautiful day.